Hey everybody, so I am giving another update today. So basically with this update, well right now what we're doing is like our typical, we don't stay in the car once it gets this hot. Usually around like anywhere between like 2 to 4 is when it gets the hottest usually. Once it gets way too hot for it to actually be sustainable in the car, I move everybody over to the shaded area over here. Because like there's nothing else we can do at this point. But basically what I wanted to do with this update today is I wanted to go into full detail about what happened to me the other night. And I realized like at the time that I was giving all the info, I didn't say everything I should have, in hopes that, people would just back off. But at this point, fuck you. You tried to like fucking set me up and get me hurt. Like probably the worst of it, if you know what I mean. So fuck that. I am saying everything that I know, because when it comes down to it, you made choices based on, and I know for a fact who gave you the information based on what you told me. So, you made a decision to basically, in my opinion, it's conspiracy to commit murder. So have fun with those charges based on half-truths and things that were complete lies that were told you that you probably never even double-checked. So why don't you be careful who you trust next time? I had to learn my lesson with that. So I am going to basically just go through every single thing that happened to me that day. It was June 5th that this all happened. So basically I was in my car. I've been there I think at that point it was probably about a week that I was living out of my car. Now I was parked in the Comfort Inn & Suites. That's where I was staying for like 2 months, and I was parked all the way at the end. And there was one night where all of a sudden this black Mustang, now I noticed it was there at the hotel all the time, but no one ever really stayed there, and it was 2 Spanish gentlemen. And the one night, and of course coincidentally, there was a bus that came that was blocking the cameras, the security cameras, and these 2 Spanish gentlemen came out of the Mustang at like, I think it was probably like 1, 2 in the morning, and they came next to my car all the way at the end where they, like, there was no reason, they never parked there. They always park in the handicap spot on top of it, and they're not handicapped, so that will tell you a lot. So basically they came up to my car wearing hoods. One went into the hotel, then came back out. They grabbed this like case and some canister. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of looked like the Jurassic Park like shaving cream canister that they had. I have some of that on recording. I shared all that already. So they were doing some weird thing with a canister in the back and a battery type thing, and they had hoods on. They were on the phone, and I was recording. So I don't know if because I was recording their faces and stuff like that, if that's why they backed off. But eventually they left. You know what I mean? But what they did was they went to the back of the building and they started throwing all this stuff away. Now in the dumpster. Now coincidentally, the garbage truck came the very next day. So I kind of find that funny. So they were disposing of all this stuff, whatever it is. And then there was a couple other like sketchy cars that were coming through that night too, revving their engines. This was like early, like 2, 3 a.m. So at that point, like I knew, and I was scared that night. I'm not gonna lie, like everybody's gonna be scared in those situations, but I'm really smart in those situations too. And you can't let fear, you kind of gotta let your fear be your adrenaline, I guess you could say. You can't let fear rule your decisions. You have to stay calm. So after that, like I knew that I was in danger, okay? And again, just to be very clear, the only thing I've talked about on these videos is human trafficking, organ trafficking, and the things that actually fucking hurt people. And you can go back and check those receipts. It wasn't until these people started coming at me that I started, recording putting, like, because I started realizing, like, obviously the hotel is a front, and a lot of these businesses are fronts to you know, scrub dirty money and do their bullshit. So once you came at me, that's when I started going on you, and I started collecting all the evidence and this and that. They didn't like that, and I started speaking truths on names I knew and this and that, which again I never said until that happened. Okay, because quite frankly, all I knew about those people was like drug related stuff, and quite frankly, I don't give a shit. That ain't my problem. That's between you, God, and the cops. As long as you're not hurting people, you know what I mean? So basically, I'm just kind of gonna go through, you know, what had happened. So after I started recording everything and exposing that shit that was happening, well, then all of a sudden these people showed up in a truck. Now, the day before June 5th, so the truck showed up, and it's I have a picture of it and a video of it and everything. So it was some weird, like, construction truck, and it basically is the ones that they use to make those bumps on the road. And it parked right in that spot that I have on camera, right in front of my car the day before. So the next day, I'm in my car, and the janitor, I don't know, he never gave me his name, but he's a little older, maybe like 50s, 60s, I'm not sure. You know, glasses, skinny, kind of like brown, grayish hair, you know, just average looking dude, tattoos. But he works for both hotels, the Quality Inn and Comfort Inn and Suites. They're right next door to each other. Well, he came over and he's like, oh, yeah, well, first Roz, the manager, came over. Now, at first, I thought Roz was helping me out because there was many nights where she, you know, gave me, you know, reduced prices and, like, tried to help me out, you know, but there were a couple things that kind of threw me off. And, you know, sometimes people pretend to be helping you, or they just help you to the degree they can if they're being, like, threatened by these people. So there could be a couple different scenarios, but by the snarky remarks she gave at the end when they thought I was a goner, I think not. But basically, Roz came up to me. Now, mind you, multiple times these people have tried to get me to leave. They said that, you know, we were going to call the cops and this, or no, she would basically say, like, I'm not the manager, you know, I'm not, you know, basically saying, like, hint, hint, like, I can't make you leave, but, you know, it's possible that, you know, the cops could come, blah, blah, blah. Cops never did anything to me. I have no beef with those cops. They haven't bothered me so far. Now, there was these boys that were all of a sudden digging through the trash. Like, they just kept digging through trash. And I recorded it because I thought it was really fucking weird. So then they were all looking around, and I asked them, like, what are you looking for? And I guess they said their cars were broken into. Which I could have been sleeping, but I didn't see anything, and it was right next to the security camera. So I don't know. That was a little weird, just saying. So I offered to show them, like, the police, the footage of the men in the Mustang and everything that were acting all weird and shit like that. The cop came and talked to them, but no one ever came up to me or anything like that. So no one made me leave or anything like that. But then, the next day, that truck that had pulled in, there was these two African-American gentlemen, and before they, you know, they were, like, in their truck, like, just doing whatever, like, washing or whatever, and that janitor came up to me, and he was trying to get my battery started. which they knew, because Roz always asked me lots of questions that some in which aren't even her business, and they'll do that, guys. They'll ask you questions to know, like, certain things. I'll get to that too. But yeah, Roz was asking me, like, where are you getting your money from, and this and that, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they knew about my car situation. They knew it wasn't they knew basically it's not operable. But somehow they managed to, the janitor, he also made a comment to me, because I started explaining, like, yeah, well, this is what happens when you try to, like, bring truth to the light and things like that. And he goes, yeah, well, you can do that in other countries, but not here. He goes, everybody knows everybody. I'm like, okay, well, if everybody knows everybody, you're all going down, I guess. So they would make comments like that. So they, you know, a lot of these people will try to act like they're helping you, but they're not. That's how they get you. So basically, he started working on my battery. And then those gentlemen, now the one guy's name is Jonathan Silver. That's what he gave anyways. And the other guy, it was like Jaha or something like that. I don't know. At first they seemed really nice, so they're like, oh, we'll help, you know, we have tools and everything. They're like, do you want to hook your dogs up to the truck and everything, get out of the sun, blah, 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 acting all friendly, right? Giving me bottles of water, you know, all this stuff. Then I started noticing some weird shit. So I hooked the dogs up to the truck, and then really quickly things turned. So they're, you know, charging the battery, all this stuff in my car. I'm sitting on the curb next to them with the dogs. He gets in the truck. As soon as he's in the truck, he beeps the horn to freak the dogs out. They'll do subtle things like that, guys. And then of course, after he beeps the horn, another car down the street beeps the horn. They do that all the time. So if you hear cars beeping back and forth to each other all the time, that's a sign too that they're communicating. They do it all the time, all day long around me. So basically I noticed they started doing that for no reason. Then they would, you know, make, like, I guess it's like a brake gas release or whatever. They constantly make noises from the truck to scare the shit out of the dogs. Then, and at first I'm like, oh, maybe he just like bumped the you know, horn or whatever, right? Nope. Gets out of the truck and goes to pet Coda. Okay? So he's petting Coda. Now watch, I want to show you guys something. See? Right here. All right. Coda, come here. All right here. I'm petting his back, you know, rubbing it all over. He's completely fine. Doesn't hurt him at all, right? So he pets him and he squeals. Coda just squeals and like starts getting freaked out, running away from the guy and stuff. So the guy, this is the Jonathan guy, he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, and starts hugging him and stuff like that. And at the time I'm like, oh, you know, it's okay, he's probably just freaked out. You know, he's probably just, you know, maybe he hasn't a cut or something on there or something. No. So then my intuition started kind of going like, Kaylee, like, you know, be careful. Give me one sec, guys. Oh, wait. Never mind. I was going to move over. I'm trying to make sure I keep an eye on my car at all times. But anyways, so yeah, then I started to realize like something wasn't right, but I wasn't like fully there yet. You know what I mean? So after that, he offers me to, he comes up with some bullshit excuse, which makes no sense whatsoever. He says that he was parking his truck there, and he bought a room at the Quality Inn, and he bought it so that he can park his car and wash it. He doesn't even use the room. He said he lives in Kingston and he'd rather sleep at his home, which doesn't make sense, guys. He's never been there the whole 2 months I've been there. He said something about not being able to park here and there, because bullshit. There's spots you can fucking park. Walmart, everything else you can park for free. It was a bullshit excuse. So again, my intuition starting to get going, but it wasn't there yet. And he's like, do you want the room? He goes, you can have it, I'm like, okay. So I'm like, sure, why not? I like to get the dogs, you know, out of the heat and this and that. So he takes me over there, right? And all of a sudden, guess who I see over there? The same Spanish gentlemen that were near my car late at night doing some weird ass shit. So basically, and like a whole group of them. So I knew, I kind of started having a feeling, but again, wasn't fully there yet. So he lets me, he talks to the lady at the counter, and she just seemed way too cool with it. Now, again, like, I don't know who all is involved and who isn't, but I feel like majority of this is all orchestrated. So, of course, she needed my ID. And I said, okay, that's not a problem. So, she goes, yeah, I just need your ID in case you have to come, like, fix the keys or anything like that. So I'm sure they tried to plant me there, you know, based on my identification and this and that. Well, good luck, honey, because I didn't pay for it. I didn't give my card. So Jonathan said that he used his company card, but then for the pet fee that he offered to pay, that was so nice of him, well, he used his personal card. So just so you cops know and shit like that. So he used his personal card for that. I didn't use any of my cards. I didn't pay for that room, and I have it all on footage. Now, when I got into the room, now he had mentioned the air conditioner, okay? They do this. They will put it right in your face on purpose. So when I got into the room, and I don't think I got good footage of this, guys. Again, this was a very sketchy situation. I was trying to get as much as I could with the time I had. I thought I had recorded it, but when I looked back at the footage, it wasn't that clear. So I don't know. But there was what appeared to be, I don't know, it looked like blood, guys. And this isn't the first time things looked like blood in these rooms. Just gonna put it that way. But when I got in there, I saw the air conditioner, and it like blatantly looked like blood on the air conditioner, and it freaked me the fuck out. So again, wasn't fully there yet, but I just, you know, my intuition started screaming at me. And I, you know, again, when you're in these situations, you kind of have to play along a little bit. So I get back out there, and that's when it really started making it very apparent to me that something wasn't right. Now, he offered to smoke a joint with me. And I, again, you know, these are all learning experiences for me too. Never fucking take drugs from a stranger. Even if it's just weed, you know what I mean? Like, don't do that. It's not a good idea. And for all you want to criticize me for smoking some weed, like, fuck off. It's weed. I really, with all of this shit that these people have done, I don't think weed is an issue. Now, basically, he's like, do you want to smoke a joint? Like, you can come out. And at the time, like, yeah, I was like, I'm super fucking stressed. And I used to have a medical card, so I did use it for anxiety and stuff like that. So yeah, I was like, sure, why not? Now, what I think they were doing, because of course he had me go right around the truck where the cameras were. So I think what they're trying to do is make me look like a drug addict, or make me look like, I think they were trying to get me high so that I would panic and freak out and call the cops and make me look like a Looney Tune. It didn't work, so I knew what they were doing. So I took the weed, smoked it, and it helped me with my intuition. They don't understand, like, I don't, you know, get panicky like that. You know, I have a very high tolerant body and very smart. So basically that's what he did. And then I started realizing really what was going on when he started throwing out the comments. So right when they start thinking that they're gonna win and they're gonna get away with it, they'll start making it obvious what they're doing to you because they think you're not gonna be around to speak on it. Well, here I fucking am. So basically, and then they'll just have like people sit here and watch you, you know, right over there, just for no reason at all. But like I said, this is just, you know, on the daily. But he started mentioning things. Now, oh, that was another thing. When he took me into the hotel room to get settled, he had mentioned my house number. like they'll start saying things. So he mentioned 147, and I knew immediately. Now at first I'm like, oh, maybe he's like a helper, maybe he's on my side, right? Nah, that wasn't. So there was that. Then after we smoked, he started making comments about, I'm pretty sure people have told them I'm racist or something like that, because he mentioned, like, you know, usually it's the white people that are doing this stuff and blah blah blah. And I agreed with him. I said, yeah, white people fucking suck, dude. Trust me, I've dealt with majority of these people that have been harassing me are actually white people. But it's funny they say that, but then they're there to hurt me. You know what I mean? Like, how fucking ironic, right? It's not just, first of all, race doesn't even fucking matter. I'm not gonna start preaching, but race has nothing to do. It's what's inside, your intent. That's what it is, okay? So first of all, you're wrong to begin with. But that I knew, you know, obviously they were told I'm racist, so whatever. Good luck finding proof that I actually am. So they started making, he made comments about that. Then I really knew when he started addressing like personal things that happened in my actual life. So he started talking about how his kids had a guinea pig and they were really upset that it died. Now, mind you, I had a guinea pig and my mom ended up taking in my guinea pig from a while ago. I don't know what they said that I did, but first of all, my mom was watching that guinea pig, and my mom let that guinea pig's nails grow so long that they curled into its skin, and literally they had to put the guinea pig down because of how swollen. The feet were like literally this fucking wide, dude. It was disgusting. And you can go look at the fucking vet bills because my mom's name's on it. It was her fucking guinea pig at that point. Then I bought her a guinea pig to make her feel better, and all of a sudden it died and they blame my dogs. So my dogs were at my mom's house at the time, and I wasn't even there. My brother was with his girlfriend Rebecca, and all of a sudden the story was they were making out and the dogs got the guinea pig. I don't know if I believe that, guys. I really don't know if I believe that, because this isn't the first time that my animal has died around my brother. I'm sorry to say. Or my mother, one of them, because I had a ferret that I loved dearly a while back. And the ferret, I was not home, and my mom claimed that the ferret got out. And her story kept changing multiple times. First she said it was my brother first she said she let it out on accident. Then later on, a couple years later, she said my brother let it out, and then all of a sudden the story changed again. I don't remember that. It wasn't Braden. So God only knows what happened to the fucking ferret. So there was that. And then when he was talking about the guinea pig, he mentioned how they put the guinea pig in the freezer because they didn't want it to decay. And like he goes, yeah, because that would be really fucked up, just letting it sit there and rot, right? I knew exactly what he was talking about. So, and I know who this is coming from. So I'll give you a little insight on that whole story about the fucking snake that you're talking about. And you want to know what actually happened to half my reptiles and the snake. I'll give you some good insight. So basically what they're talking about is one of my snakes died, right? Now my snake died under really weird circumstances. It had a snapped neck, guys, and it was literally slithering around with like a neck like this. I'm not kidding. And I tried to feed it, nurse it back to health. There was nothing I could fucking do. And quite frankly, it was actually pretty disgusting to sit there and watch it like that. But it wasn't normal. Like, and this isn't the first animal that I had that had like broken limbs. I had a gecko that also had a broken back. It was like twisted like this, and it could barely walk or function. And it had a little, like, not a like very tall cage. So no, I don't think it fell and broke its back. That's very unusual, especially with geckos and stuff. No, and again, this isn't the first time this has happened. And now I'll tell you who I was fucking living with at the time. It was Ryan, and I'm not making accusations on anybody. I'm just stating facts. So I did not live alone at the time. I had company, okay? And also my mother came around a lot too. She lived next door. So again, not pointing fingers at certain people, but just stating facts. You make up your mind of what you want to believe. So again, you know, came out to the living room, found the snake with a, you know, the snake unfortunately suffered with a fucking broken neck for probably a couple days. I tried feeding it. I did manage to feed it at one point or another, but obviously, like, it didn't make it. Now that's the animal that he's talking about decaying. Now what would happen is Ryan would promise me we would bury the animal. I would wait for me, like, he would convince me, like, wait for me, we'll bury it, right? Days would go by and he just wouldn't fucking do it, or there would always be an excuse or a distraction. Now mind you, at the time, I'm telling you, things were put in my medical marijuana, things were put in my food, because I was not myself, and my medicine. They always tried to force me to take my medicine, and every time I took it, I didn't feel right. And as soon as I stopped taking it, I feel 10 times better. I'm more coherent. At the time, I would just sit on the fucking couch and just like a zombie, guys. Like, I literally couldn't move. And my grandmother was like that too all the time. Always sick for no reason whatsoever. So yeah, like, there's a lot of things that I, you know, wish I could have taken care of more. You know what I mean? Like, but when you have things put in your medicine and things, that's another thing. Like, we found a whole fucking, my mom pointed it out, so I kind of find that funny. But when all this happened and Ryan got kicked out of the house, I found little capsules that you fill up, of like medicine capsules with white powder in them, up at the top of my shelf. I have pictures of that too. Those are like on my flash drives or whatever, so I will be sharing those at some point. But yeah, so I found those. So I know shit was being put in. It's all to make me look bad, guys. So back to the snake. So yeah, the snake unfortunately did end up passing under weird circumstances. And yes, it did sit on the porch in a box waiting to be buried, and it unfortunately, I was not coherent enough, and Ryan kept milking it, in my opinion, purposely. And it did, and then all of a sudden he comes to me, Kaylee, the snake is decaying, this and that. So like, I obviously had to end up, like, I think I ended up just unfortunately throwing it away. You know, or maybe it got buried, but most of the animals that have passed away, they usually do get buried, guys. You know, but again, like, I just wanted to give the whole story on that before people making assumptions based on little things that they actually know. And how these animals actually died under very weird circumstances, and how all these things are usually put together purposely to make me look like the evil one. I knew that's what he was talking about. Again, like, they start telling you things specifically that they shouldn't even fucking know. And that's exactly, and they also, he mentioned Netflix. He goes, oh yeah, wow, that, because I started they asked me all these questions. And I started telling him about, you know, everything. He goes, yeah, wow, you should make a Netflix documentary about it. Now think about this, guys. Who works for Netflix that is associated with Ryan? Starts with an F, ends with a D. Okay, so I'm not a fucking idiot. And again, you know, just to get that out there, so people know where this is coming from. Then it started getting really sketchy when he started trying to show, so he showed me the machine that they used to make the road, and basically it's just this fucking grater, guys, like with these fucking like mechanical, like basically what you can throw a human into and make them into a burger, okay? And he was showing me that, trying to freak me out with that. Then you know, it just got more and more hostile, and you know when you get that fucking gut feeling, okay? And no, don't sit here and say to me, oh, it's because you were smoking weed, that's why you were so paranoid. No, it wasn't, because this shit was happening before I even took a puff of a joint, okay? So, actually, honestly, I think it helped me, my intuition, honestly, and I was pretty fucking damn calm for what was going on. So, anyways, basically after that, I was sitting, like, and he told me he has dash cams in the front of his truck and everything, so I think they were trying to get it on recording. So I was sitting right in front of the truck, you know, in the shade, and then that's when I really knew something was fucking wrong, when he's like started mentioning all that stuff. Then he started showing me random pictures, mentioning Jackson and like all this other stuff. So I knew what they were doing. Like, they were bringing up things specifically that they shouldn't even have knowledge of, hinting at things. So then he goes, you know what I also have on my truck? You know what I also have? He goes, I have a laser. And literally, guys, I'm not fucking kidding you. He had a laser off of the truck, a green colored laser pointed at my fucking head. Not fucking kidding you. So at that point, I remained fucking calm, but I said, shit, Keely, you got to get the fuck out of here. So I grabbed the dogs. I slowly just got up and started walking away. I said, come on, guys, do you want some water? And I started walking further from the truck. And he goes, oh, you forgot your bowl here. I'll put it right here under the tire by some shade, right in front of where the truck is and the laser. I didn't go near it. I wasn't fucking stupid. Then he tried to get me to go around the other side. And this is all on the camera, guys. This is all on security camera. This is all going to be available. So I went around the truck. He tried to get me around the truck. He goes, you want to see, there's someone kicked my car in, or someone, like it was some bullshit. Someone indented my truck. Do you want to see? Come around. And of course it's on the side opposite of the security cameras. I did not. I was absolutely fucking not. So then he comes back up to me and he shows me the more pictures. So you want to see more pictures? And he was like, just started like, here's the beach, here's this in Jackson, here's this. Like, obviously, guys, like if you go back and look at my stuff, like you'll see how that relates. So I knew right then and there I was in a lot of danger. Not only that, but when I went into the hotel he tried to put me in, I also noticed the conjoined rooms. So in that hotel, there's a door that goes to another room. And it only was basically locked through a little like chain. And I was like, yeah, absolutely fucking not. So I knew exactly what was going on, what they were trying to do. So I played it off really cool. I acted really dumb. Just played it off really fucking stupid. And went on live because I knew like live would be my best way to protect myself if everybody was watching. So I ran back into the hotel. You guys saw all that. I grabbed the cat. Basically, then everybody started coming out with their dogs, kept approaching me, and it just got worse and worse as the night went on. Like I said, when I ended up saying, fuck it, the best thing I can do is go to the Wawa because no place up there is safe. So the best place is right dead center in the middle of a public 24-hour area in front of cameras and everything else. And thank God I did. People were fucking pissed. They were revving their engines, screaming out their window at me all night long, approaching me. I told you a guy smashed the bottle and kept coming up to me aggressively, trying to, freak me the fuck out and get my dogs to, go after them. It's horrible, guys. I showed all that. I explained all that already. But I just kind of wanted to give you like insight to what these people were doing. And, if anybody else goes through this, how to get out of that type of situation. You don't want to give away that right away. Because if they know they might try to get you quicker. You got to play dumb at first. And again, even lesson learned for me, don't like automatically trust people that are pretending to help you. Because another thing too is Roz, when I went into the hotel, right when this was all happening, so once I started like walking the dogs around the hotel for a while to get away from that guy, I just said, I'm gonna take them for a walk, give them a break, and the dogs wanted to go inside. So I went inside and Roz and Kim were there, and Roz just all of a sudden, again, the mask started slipping. That's when she started I started explaining to them, like, I've tried reporting to everybody that I, unfortunately, like, what's been done to me and this and that. And, like, they know, like, a lot of what's been going on. And then Roz just makes these snarky remarks, well, you should have kept your mouth shut. You should have, like, it's just like, telling a husband that their wife's cheating on them or something stupid like that. And I literally said to her, I was like, yeah, but that's different. She goes, no, you know, and Kim's like, well, it's just an example, this and that. I'm like, first of all, I'm like, that has nothing to do with any of this, okay? I'm not going to sit here and keep going over and defending that. But I just kind of want to give you, like, that's when I knew. You know, I mean, everybody had this all planned. And then she made the comment, another bus is coming tonight. I have to go. So just think about that for a second, you know? So again, a lot of these people act like they're helping you. And yeah, maybe they do, to an extent, try to help you a little bit. But at the end of the day, they're not in it for your best interest, you know? So everybody is going to suffer the consequences of what was done. And the saddest part is, like, again, half this shit that's being told to you people is not fucking true at all. And now you are going to go down for some major fucking charges, you know, over things that weren't your business to begin with. Why don't you let people fight their own fucking battles, guys? Seriously, let them be grown fucking ass adults and fight their own battles and stop being little keyboard warriors. You know what I mean? Because that's what these psychopaths do. They make you do their dirty work for you. Or, yeah, for them. And then you suffer the consequences for it. They're going to still suffer the consequences. You know, they're still going to go down for it, but ultimately they would have tried to just pin it on you. That's what they do. They don't care. It's sad, you know? But again, you know, unfortunately, I did not get the group of people very well in the lobby, but when I went into the hotel lobby, they were all there. And it was the two Spanish gentlemen that were near my car. So I knew, you know what I mean? I knew who was all involved, and everything that they were saying, obviously, like, was way too close to home and, like, was way too personable, you know? So yeah, that's just kind of like everything that happened. If I could think of anything else, this is also for like the feds and stuff who watch, so you guys know what's going on. Again, there was a bunch of things attempted to be done. You know, they tried to put my ID on the room. You know, they tried to put me in certain locations, probably to frame me for stuff too. Another thing too is I have this weird feeling, like, okay, so I had like a whole shit ton of clothes, guys. Like, basically, like, I brought all my clothes from home, but I basically threw a lot of them out, which I kind of regret now, because I need to get some laundry done somehow, which I'm probably just going to do the old-fashioned way in a bucket of water and soap and let it sun dry. I have no choice. But I threw a bunch of clothes out to make room in my car, you know, I had no room. I have so much stuff. Basically, my whole life is in my car. So, you know, if my clothes end up anywhere that they don't belong, that would be why. But it doesn't matter, guys, because your phone gives your location. You know, like I said, cops already know everything. I can guarantee, like, I can tell you what they were doing. You know, they were trying to get me alone in the hotel at night with a conjoined room. They were trying to put me in a certain spot, frame me for something, make it look like I'm the drug addict, make it look like this and that, or, you know, try to get me to freak out, run away, act like a loon. You know, it didn't work. You know, all the things, they probably sat there and thought, well, if this part doesn't work, at least this will. Or we got them this way, if this part doesn't work. Nah, none of it worked, assholes. Because I'm not an idiot. So anyways, that's everything that happened. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to share the footage of the men that did all this. I also have, you know, other footage too that I've taken that I will be putting together eventually of, like, Roz, like I said, the manager that's not the manager, who also was, like, having these men walk up with her that don't even work at the hotel or anything. Like I said, guys, this is all sketchy shit. But yeah, so I will go ahead and attach it is already up, so it's a longer video of the whole live with them on it, but I'm just gonna clip it here as well, so you guys can see who was doing this. But just wanted to clear some things up and show you how these things operate, and how spreading rumors and making lies about people and making other people do your dirty work for you. One, it's cowardice. And two, now you're fucked. Now you're in big trouble, and you got other people in trouble that probably wouldn't have been, that have families that probably wouldn't have even been involved with this if you didn't, you know, stir shit up and make lies. Again, I would love to see the actual proof of things that they've probably accused me of doing, or this and that. Like I said, any wrongdoing I've ever done, I fully admit it. I come out and say it. These people don't. They won't say it. You know what I mean? So who's good and who's bad? You know? Look who actually has the receipts. But, alright guys, I'm gonna go. We're gonna stay cool and stuff like that. And I'll go ahead and attach that video too so you can see. Oh, another quick thing I wanted to add. They gave me a $20 bill, right? You know what that's from, right? That's from my script. From Parasitosis, the $20 bill. That's what they were doing. You know, they try to hint at things and put things in your face on purpose. So that's why they handed me the $20 bill. So, just thought that was kind of funny too. But, alright guys, I'm gonna go get things taken care of. Wish me luck again. Hopefully this ends soon.